Comedian Kojo kicks off his first national tour this weekend. The award-winning entertainer is one of the most popular in the Black British comedy circuit, visiting Leicester last Friday with Nottingham in the diary for the coming weeks. Well, I caught up with a stand-up comic following the show's first screening to find out what's in store.
It's my first UK tour. It's called Special Delivery, and it's a whole brand new hour set, and it's more about where I am in my life now.
Well, talking of that, I had the pleasure of coming to see the screening earlier in the week, and it's a really diverse mixture of material. You touch on your family, your African heritage, politics, even current affairs. Is that something that you strive to do as a comedian, to keep it diverse?
I think when you're starting out as a comic, you just have to be funny, and then I think after, you've had a couple of years under your belt and you've kind of, travelled and done tours and stuff, you kind of find your voice and you figure out what it is that you want people to get from your shows. And I feel as though, as the kind of comedian that I am, I think it's important that people who, come from backgrounds like mine are spoken to. I think that's very important. I admire people like Chris Rock, who, comes from that perspective as well, but still has a mainstream audience. And because most of the shows that I do are predominantly white audiences, my comedy naturally is diverse, so I know who I'm writing to, which is human beings rather than race. So that's kind of where Live and Kicking was, and my life involves politics. My life involves frustration and being having achievements and stuff. So I wanted to touch around all these different things. My relationship with girls and stuff, and what I see and my observations. So all of that kind of rounded up, kind of like Live and Kicking. Special Delivery is more about me being a 30-plus person. I'm the only one in my immediate family that has no children. I've got a godson. I've got nephew, nieces. So that's kind of where I'm at now in my life, and that's the kind of message that I want to come across in my comedy.
Well, exciting times, and it sounds as though you're in a really good place. However, at the screening, you talked about writing the material for this show when you were in a really dark place.
Yeah, I wasn't happy. I mean, I had a job where I wasn't happy, and I just felt as though, I wasn't being able to express myself, and I was going through a lot of that. Sometimes with things like depression, you laugh at it because it's not like a spot where you can see it, It's a mental state of mind, and until you're actually in that, you don't respect it, So when I was in that, I was losing weight, I wasn't happy, I was coming into work, really, really like on downers, and for me to create Live and Kicking through being throughout the whole process, is something that I'm proud of for myself, you know what I mean? And I promised myself never to be back in that situation. So I'm in a much better place now. My mind's a bit more clearer. And hopefully that's a better show and not a worse show.
Well, the proof is in the pudding, as they say. You hear a lot of comedians talk about coming from quite a dark place, that in their private life it doesn't reflect the fact that they get on stage and entertain all these people with their jokes. Is that something that reflects in your life? Do you suffer from depression?
No, I mean, that's the first time I've ever been depressed. Do you know what I mean? I didn't know what it was until I came out of it, to be really honest. And then, sometimes you hear when people take time off work because of it, and it is a really serious thing. I don't think I suffer from depression. I think, I try and stay positive. I've got good people around me. I live a really, really exciting life. I get to meet celebrities, and I get to invite to some cool events and stuff. I get to do a job that I love. So 95% of the time, I'm in a really, really cool frame of mind. I used to always strive, and like anybody else, you want a promotion at your job, you want to progress in life, and I'm no different from anybody else really. So sometimes when you're not getting those things, maybe you might be on a downer, but it's not something where I'd say I'm depressed. It's just probably like a bad day like everyone else has really.
Another thing that you mentioned at the screening that I thought was quite interesting was you said you want to be known as a comedian and not just a black act. Is that something that you still struggle with?
I think initially you get typecasted, you get typecasted, and for me it's like I don't really see that now. I see it more as I'm owning what I am. I speak to a specific kind of person who can handle what I believe to be my truth. So it's not about being afraid of saying something because this person's in the room or that person's in the room. If your comedy talks to everybody or about everybody, then you're in the right frame of mind. So that's kind of where I am as a comedian. Being people initially see you as a black comic, but then when they hear your material, it's diverse. It makes everybody laugh, and that's one thing that's important about my comedy. If it doesn't make everybody laugh, it doesn't make the show.
The tour kicks off this weekend and you're travelling all over the country. When are you coming to Nottingham?
I'm coming to Nottingham, on the 7th of October. I'm really looking forward to it. It's a beautiful venue that Jongleurs Comedy Club use on the weekends, and I'm using it on a Sunday. I really, really love it. It's intimate, and Nottingham's a cool crowd as well. And I've got a quite nice fan base down there, so I'm excited about coming down.
For comedy fans who haven't yet had the pleasure of seeing you perform, what should they expect from the new show?
I think for special delivery, expect some quick gags, a lot of stories about my family. I went on a family cruise this year, so there's a whole bunch of stories from that, and kind of like where I'm at in my life now. I'm in a really, really good place, and I feel if I can share where I'm at when I'm in a bad place, I should be able to share when I'm in a good place as well. So it's more family orientated this show than the last one was.